Hello, everyone, and good afternoon. My name is Babatunde Onabajo, and what you're seeing here is a project that I've created from an organization called ReSAKSS, which provides a variety of data with regards to Africa and a number of development indicators. My project is for the category visual arts, and what I've done for this particular what I've done for this particular scheme is to create a program in virtual reality for a new device that the company Apple is launching called the Vision Pro headset. With the Vision Pro headset, individuals can see things in virtual reality by wearing the headset. So I've decided to create this program so that you can see the various development indicators provided by ReSAKSS in virtual reality if you have an Apple Vision Pro headset. If you don't have one, that's not a problem because we can still see how it would look like on a computer as we are seeing right here. But if you have one, you can actually download this and actually see everything in virtual reality. So for this particular scheme, what I have done is that I have chosen at least 5 different indicators that you can see in virtual reality. Those are the Gini coefficient, which measures income inequality in a particular country or region. Gross domestic product, otherwise known as GDP, which is the total amount of goods and services produced in an economy over a period of time. The inflation rate as well, which is a measure of how quickly prices are rising in a particular economy or economies over a period of time. GDP per capita is effectively the same as GDP, which I've just mentioned. To recap, it's the total value of goods and services produced by an economy over a period of time. But in the case of GDP per capita, you just divide that by the total number of people in a given country. Across the board, if you look at the different indices, it does seem that Africa is actually performing quite well. So, for example, with the Gini coefficient, it's declining. With the inflation rate, it's also declining. The global hunger index for Africa is also declining. GDP per capita and GDP are rising, which are good things. So let's actually see how this works. So here, this particular window, as we call it in the context of Vision Pro, if you were to wear the headset, you'll actually see that what we have here is the Gini index. You can see that from 1990 to 2020, it actually declined. Now, with the Gini index, a value of 0 means perfect equality, and a value of 100 means perfect inequality. Generally, economies try to strive for lower inequality as opposed to higher. So it's actually declining for Africa, and you would be able to see this in the context of virtual reality if you wear the Apple headset. So let's actually turn to gross domestic product. So it's just loading a bit. So yes, with gross domestic product, you can see here that it's consistently rising, well, almost consistently rising between the periods 1980 to 2020. It's in US trillion dollars as well. So yes, you can see the attractive surroundings as well. So if you're wearing the headset, you'll be able to see this in virtual reality and you can have some sort of interaction with it. Let's turn to an inflation rate. So from this, you can see the annual inflation rate for Africa as a whole. So you can see in 1980, it was almost around 20%. And towards the end of 2020, it's declined quite sharply. And also, if you notice as well, it also seems from the data, it does seem as if it's also less volatile, which is another important thing to bear in mind. Because although not to get too technical, lower volatility of the inflation rate, like how quickly it changes, is also another good thing. And this trend follows international trends. In many countries around the world, the inflation rate has also declined. That's mainly due to more successful policies by the central bank. So let's turn to the Global Hunger Index. Oh, actually, I apologize. I'm not sure if I mentioned that at the beginning, but yes, the Global Hunger Index is a measure of basically the number of people who are hungry in a particular region. Perhaps I should have mentioned that. So here we can see that it's also been declining a lot for Africa. So you can see here. So let's turn to GDP per capita. And for GDP per capita, it's loading a bit. You can see that it declined a little bit during the 90s, but it's been rising since. So if you have the Apple Vision Pro headset, or if you're due to get one, you can actually download this program on my GitHub repository. The instructions will be there below. Alternatively, feel free to reach out to me via Twitter or email. You might be wondering how this was built. Well, this was built in a program called, in a programming language called Swift. Swift is the programming language that is used to develop products for Apple. And this particular interface here, or otherwise known as the Integrated Development Environment, is called Xcode, which is what we use to develop programs for Apple. So I really like the ReSAKSS website. It's actually much easier to use compared to similar websites that I've used, such as the World Bank and the IMF. It's very straightforward. The only criticism that I would have of ReSAKSS is that they do not have an API, because an API is basically a way of transferring data from two different systems effectively. And with an API, we would actually be able to have a much more closer interaction. Like, for example, we could select different countries. We can't do that. I haven't designed that here, but because there is no API, it would be slightly harder to do that here. But that's perhaps something that can be looked into. But overall, I really liked the website. And as someone from a development background, it's something that I will definitely be using much more in the future. Thank you so much. My name, once again, is Babatunde Onabajo. And I'm really, really grateful for you listening here. Thank you so much.